Hey there, welcome back. We just got back, got another video up. Been traveling, so you just have to bear with me. I wanted to go ahead and rehash some of the stuff that about the old car that we first started with, but the first video you can go back to. But anyway, this is a little more detail about when I got the car, how I got it. We got the car down in Mountain Grove, Missouri, from a guy that collected cars. He had some health problems, needed to get rid of all that stuff. So I ended up buying this one, and it was one of the rougher ones of the bunch. He had a bunch of them, but at least it was complete, or halfway complete. But it was really rough. A lot of Bondo and just been beat up over the years. So did what we could do to get it back together, and just takes a little time and effort, a lot of sandblasting and cleaning and so on. So we'll go through some of the pictures here that we had posted earlier in the first video, but didn't get a lot of views. So as you can see, this is one I brought her home, sitting on a trailer here. I just pulled it into the backyard and kind of doing an inventory of what I got and how bad it really is. And it's a project. Just like any project, you got to assess what you got and see where you need to leave off on and where you're going with this project. So it'd probably been an old drag car or something that had some custom stuff that people had done with a rear lock on the trunk, with a cable. So if anybody knows of this car, maybe they could chime in and give me a little history on the car. I don't know where the car was from, Missouri or wherever. He went all over the country. But you can see through the pictures here, it was pretty bare bones. No motor, no transmission, had a rear end in it, but had the steering stuff in it, and the dash was mostly there. But you work through all that stuff and kind of get a direction of where you want to go. I knew I wanted. I didn't at that time. I didn't think I wanted to have it on the street, so I built it as a drag car purely just to go have fun and bracket race on the weekends. So that's what I did. I wanted to clean the car up, and it had a lot of, just years of grime. So sandblasted everything and stripped the car into my two-car garage, and just cleaned everything, trying to get it ready for some primer to seal it up so it didn't rust anymore. Had to do some work on the chassis, figure out I didn't want to run the leaf springs anymore in the stock rear end, so all that stuff was coming out of there. So I got rid of all that. I had a 60, or actually it was a 59 Catalina rear end, which they call it an Olds 9.3 inch, which is a little bigger than a Dana actually. But so I started mocking up the wheels and all that, and getting the rear end cleaned up, getting ready to put the 4-link in it. I had ordered actually a ladder bar. I'm sorry, not a 4-link, but a ladder bar. So I had to get all that stuff together and order all that from Chris Alston. I got the coilovers, the ladder bars. I had to narrow the rear end quite a few inches on each side to get it to fit this body here. So I went through, tore it all apart, sandblasted it, ordered new 456 gears for it, and a spool, because I knew I wasn't going to drive it on the street. It was going to be a drag car, so I didn't need a limited slip or anything like that. So here I am getting ready to mock it all up so I could cut it down and get it all lined and welded back together. I kept the stock ends and everything, but as you know, or maybe you don't know, but a lot of drag cars back in the day, gassers and altereds and dragsters from the early 60s and 50s, used this 9.3 Olds rear end, they called it. So it's a fairly strong rear end. from what I've learned, this is the first one I've ever owned, but I've heard of people using them and all that. Um, so I ordered the gears, got it all set up, put the spool in, uh, ended up painting the housing and all that, and the carrier, and ordered strange axles for it, and then started mocking up the back of the car. Somebody had already cut the back half of the car out. I mean, well, not completely, but it was cut on. Somebody had already started widening the wheel wells and all that stuff, so I knew that I wanted to do that anyway, so somebody had already started, so I just finished it. So it's got some drag racing history behind it. It's probably an old street rod or hot rod or something like that. You know, it started out as an old 283 with a 3-speed on the column, and just a stock daily driver that somebody used every day and probably raised a family in at one time. So my plans were to more drag oriented street or bracket racing type deal. So I had a big block laying around, which was an LS7 454, which back in the day I think they were rated at about 465 horsepower in a crate that you could buy over the county from GM. And that came with a good rods, a steel crank, forged pistons, 990 big valve heads, rectangular port, of course, and it was a pretty stout motor for back in the day. A lot of people used them in drag racing and stuff. So, but this one had a roller cam and been gone through with stainless steel valves and a lot of other stuff. But it ran good. So that's the reason I put it in the car. So I had to do a little trimming on the firewall to get it to set back in there with that big block. As you can see here, it's pretty tight up against the firewall there with the distributor and stuff. So it was a nice project to just go out and piddle around with on the weekends or after work, which I work 10-hour days, so there's not much time after work when you get the kids and everybody. So, but I started on the sheet metal, working it out, and it was it was fairly straight, but it was had been just beat up. The whole car had been beat up from raising families over the years and stuff. So just had to do lots of cleaning and sandblasting and sanding, and here you can see I got it all primed up and direct metal primer, and mocked up the wheels and all that, and started putting the glass back in it, which the car didn't really have any good glass in it. I had to order a whole new kit for it, and just getting it ready to figure out what I wanted to do with it. I knew I didn't want to keep it this color, so I sprayed a little black primer on it because I like that 2-lane blacktop type look, and that's one of my favorite movies. So wanted that style. You know, it wasn't a 55, but you know, I just wanted to have something that looked like that or felt like that, and a lot of people said they liked the car because of that. You know, that was a primer and just an old hot rod. So, but I started taking it to the track when I got it done. You know, it was a lot of fun for a lot of years. It was just a bracket car that I took and played around on the weekends and stuff. It never really dawned on me that I wanted to put it on the street, but there was a time when I was bored with all that, and I decided that's exactly what I wanted to do. So I started drag racing a little bit, and was thinking more about the street and how I wanted to do that. The big block was fun, but I just didn't see myself going any farther with it. Now, if it was like a 632 or something like that, I'd probably, you know, went that route, but I just wanted something more drivable, which leads into down the road videos of what I did and how I did it and why I did it. But you know, raced the car. Here is some video of it down at Ozark Raceway Park which is my home track down in Rogersville, Missouri. So just a lot of fun taking it out on weekends. It was all over the place. This is an 1/8 mile track, so I ran mostly 1/8 mile stuff. That's why I put the 456 gears in it. But it was quick. It'd do like 130 something short times for the 60 foot, and then it was run pretty good from a get. But things changed. Had the car forever. As you can see, I started putting like the exhaust back on the car and kind of getting it always had exhaust on it, but I started changing the exhaust to make it more streetable. I went through all the lights and put a wiring harness, built a wiring harness myself, and just rewired things and started getting the car ready to be a street car. Just putting the work in, going around fixing spots on the body, cleaning it up, and then I'd just spray some primer over as I was working on it. Just wanted to keep the primer at that time, but I'd take it out and have some fun with it. We might go to a car show right up the road or something at the track. They might have something. I might run it up there, just have some fun. But it finally morphed into something, as you can see, a little different. Changed everything under the hood, and I decided that I'd like to have like fuel injection, get the car licensed. Decided I wanted to have something more modern in there, so I went with an LS swap, which everybody does. It's fairly easy, easy to find stuff. This is just a 5.3 truck motor that I found that was, I think, in 2003. It was nothing special. Initially, I had a 7675 precision turbo on it, and Holley HP wiring, controlling everything. But then it morphed in. I wanted more power, so I started messing around with it. I put an 88 and redid a lot of the piping and stuff. Moved my intercooler around and put an exhaust out the back. That's what that big pipe is there that you can see up front. Coming off the turbo, which it's a VS Racing 88 103, so it makes some steam, so you got to be able to move that air out the exhaust and in to the turbo. So that's, if you put an exhaust on them, it usually chokes the turbo down so bad that they don't run real good. They lose a lot of power. Sometimes can be even a couple hundred power or 100 horsepower difference with mufflers and stuff on. But it morphed into something different. Just things change. I just like pit and building stuff. I do everything myself. I do all my own welding and fabrication and wiring and just everything, the chassis, the motors, all the welding. So, but it came a long way. Took it to car shows, took some really cool pictures. I started getting it out, and as you can see, like Fodad Media, that's in the Springfield area. Chris takes some great shots of cars. So